Hi, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours, where we answer your questions 7 days a week. Bill, what do we have?
Our first question this morning comes from Pedro G. Gonzalez III in Washington, D.C., and Pedro wonders, the new Shure MV7i just hit the market. Why should I buy it?
If only we had someone that could answer that question. I mean, we're pretty smart, but if we could just get somebody from Shure to come in and answer that question. Laura Davidson is here in the panel from Shure. Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alex. It's so good to be back.
So good to have you. So this is the new another MV7.
Yes, another MV7, but a very different MV7.
Right. So there's an MV7X, right?
Yes.
There's an MV7 Plus, the MV7,
Yep.
and now there's the MV7i. You're going to have to maybe have a whole new company called MV7 pretty soon.
Yeah, we
It's
might.
Gonna be, so what's new with the i?
So it is the first dynamic mic with a built-in XLR/quarter-inch input. So let me say that again. It is a microphone with an XLR and quarter-inch input. So it's
a microphone with an interface. So for those listening, I'm talking into an SM7B. That's going into a Mix Pre 3, which then goes in. So that's the interface. That's how we're getting the mic, because the mic's an XLR out. And the problem you get into is, you might be able to put two mics into it if you have a computer, but if you have a laptop or like an Air, or if you have a phone or an iPad, you only have one input to work with, and it's difficult to make that work.
It is. So we decided to streamline it, because the reason why we made the MV7 way back in 2020 was so that we could have high quality, Shure quality sound in a USB form factor, and also have it be a hybrid by having an XLR output so that you could put it into an interface. Mm-hmm. But we're always trying to find something to make people's lives easier and better. So the MV7i allows you to have a microphone and another microphone plugged in. Oh, yeah. This guy over here, the SM7DB, is being powered by the MV7i.
And so it's not only doing the interface, but it's also doing 48 volt.
It is, correct.
Yeah. Although the system doesn't need that, I guess.
Yes.
Now, does the input act as an output if needed, or is it always an input?
It's always an input.
Okay.
But you can sum them, so you can do it in a few different ways. So right now I have it in output mode where it's two separate channels out. So if I put this into my DAW, my digital audio workstation, I use Logic Pro, it recognizes two channels instantly, but you can sum them into stereo as well. So it gives you some versatility and flexibility on the output side. But it's functioning as an input, essentially.
And how do you control it?
You control it using our Motive Mix app. So let me pull that up so everybody can play along at home. So Motive Mix is an app that allows you to bring multiple USB sources or audio sources into your computer, mix them within your computer, and then decide how you want to route them. So right now, you can see my available sources on the left-hand side. I selected my MV7i, and that is right here. So you're hearing my MV7i right now. That's my active channel. If I switch over here, now you're hearing my SM7DB, which it's powering, as I mentioned before. And you can see when I activate the settings over here that it's actually going to be applying some DSP, if I want it, digital signal processing, to that additional input. So this is my analog mic plugged in. I'm giving it phantom power so it can engage the preamp that's built into my SM7DB. And I have it on auto level mode. So auto level mode is something we introduced with MV7, which allows you to just not think about your gain and talk and be free. And now you can apply it to any mic. It doesn't have to be a USB mic. So I'm controlling the settings of the mic. I can also determine my global settings of my MV7i, which I have in auto level mode here with my real-time denoiser and my popper stopper. So that's something that we've added to Motive Mix.
And you could have other inside of Motive. You could have other inputs. So you could have the computer. You could have other things connected to it. But this is just two of the mics. And now, how does this work? Do you have software in the iPad and iPhone as well, or is it going into just existing?
This is desktop. So you would use this on your desktop. If you want to use Motive Audio, you can still do Motive Audio and Motive Video, which are our mobile versions of the apps, and that can control our USB audio microphones.
And if you set this, so let's say you test these mics the way you want them, and you set them in Motive, the MV7i will remember the setting for the XLR and itself, right?
Correct. It will store the settings.
All right. And we got some questions here from the panel here, Jeff.
Laura, thanks for being here. I actually have two questions. The first is about the LEDs on the mic. Are those just display, or are they also some form of control? I saw something on the webpage about tapping that.
Yes. So it's a tap to mute. So let's not do that. So it's tap to mute anywhere on there. And then you can customize the LED colors just like you can with the MV7 Plus. And you can do that within the Motive Mix app. So you can make your own brand colors, or you can have it worked as an audio meter and it will show you if you're clipping.
Are you able to disable the tap to mute?
Yes, you can lock it out.
Ask me why I know. Why I need that.
I wonder why you're asking that.
We send these out. We send these MV7s out. And the number one problem that happens is someone grabs onto the mic and then they're gone.
Yes.
So,
then bye-bye. Yes, you can absolutely lock it out.
Yeah, that's good. Courtney?
Yeah, I know the Motive app runs on all platforms there, but is there a way to control or balance the level between the two mics without using the app? Is there any local control over level?
Nope, you have to do it within the app itself.
And the other question is there, with the DSP functions, they're built into the mic, I assume, and not into the app. Does that cause any latency in going out if you're using the noise cancellation?
No. No latency. And I should say, when you can control the settings of the microphones, the audio levels, if you're using it in a DAW without using Motive Mix. So I should say that, but there's just no tactile control on the MV7i.
And the reason that there's no latency is because all the processing is happening in the mic, right?
Right.
Yep. Right. The app is sending commands to the mic, but they're not. But it's not doing any processing itself.
Right.
Interesting. Yep. Go ahead, Bill.
So many people are now getting into things like podcasting. This seems like the ideal setup for doing a two-person interview or something like that. Was it designed for those kind of things in mind, or what are the other things that people are using, or you expect people to use with this setup?
Yeah, it's a great question. So it's perfect for a two-person podcast that you want to be mobile and on the go and portable. But it's also great for singer-songwriters. You know, I've got some instruments back behind me, so I could plug 1/4 inch into the back for my guitar and then record my vocals at the same time. So
does it do high Z?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. High
That's
Z
interesting.
Yep.
That's interesting. Marty?
Hi, this is really interesting. So a couple of things. If you had two of the MV7Is, you could essentially have 4 microphones going into your computer, right? Now, can you take those two MV7Is and route them through a USB hub so that you'd only have one USB connection at your laptop?
That depends on the hub. But because of Motive Mix, you wouldn't even need the hub. If you have 2 USB ports on your computer, you could plug directly in and then have all 4 sources be recognized via Motive Mix. Hope that answers that.
I feel like I want to do a test, get like a good OWC hub and plug it into my phone and then have 2 7Is and 2 7 pluses and plug them all in together. Go ahead.
Well, I'm plugged into a USB hub right now.
And it's working.
And it's working. So, but I only have one MV7i to test that with. But yeah,
it should be enough.
Motive Mix allows you to do that.
As long as you don't copy anything to the drive, a drive connected to it at the same time.
Right.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So an obvious use case, as Bill said, is the two-person podcast, like you have set up with 2 mics, that if you had a second mic for the other person, but only one headphone output. So I assume that has enough power to drive to a splitter to split the 2 headphones?
Yes. Yep, exactly.
Interesting.
So maybe the 7i2 will have 2 headphone outputs?
Oh, that's a good suggestion, Jeff. I'll get that back to the mothership.
or 3 headphone outputs, because it'll have 3 XLRs on the back. It'll just be like this thing that is like a little mixer. Good, Courtney.
Okay, Alex.
And does the new i have the same motor, the same capsule, dynamic capsule as the MV7?
Yes, it is identical to the MV7 Plus and MV7. Yes.
Another question that came in from the viewers.
Is there an API, Juan Robles asked, out of Mexico City, Mexico, or a software development kit to control the mic controls?
Not yet, but we're always working on new things, so that's a great suggestion, but no API as of now.
It's really useful for us because one of the things that we like to try to do is get to a point where we like why that would be useful for us is if because I send these mics out, so I'm sending either MV7s or MV6s, out to folks, and being able to have them jump into Zoom and then be able to open up a control interface inside of Zoom and control their mic would be gold because
Yes.
we're sending it to people who don't know anything about a mic. They barely know which way to talk into it. And we need to be able to just have them just point it in the right direction, and then I'll take over the mic
Ooh.
and set it the way I need it to be set. And that could be either an API or you guys could, we'll put you in touch with Zoom. You can build your own Zoom
Thanks.
app.
Okay.
Zoom app to make it in the marketplace so that it's just a Shure controller. But that would be a huge boom for us because we want to. The biggest problem we have is that we hand someone we send mics out every week, and again, MV7s typically we're moving to MV6s because they're less expensive and
I
they're
love
simple.
that.
And,
I just heard that. I'm so excited.
yeah, the biggest problem we have is they get there and the person doesn't know what to do with it, and all we want to do is be able to say just plug it in to your computer. And as soon as Zoom sees it, we can take over.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, that's a great idea. But when you do set up a mic using the Motive, and you set it up the way you want, and then if you disconnect the mic and plug it into a different computer, will the settings be remembered in the microphone?
Yes. So it stores your settings to the microphone itself.
We keep on going back to that because we're like, really? It'll save
real?
the settings?
Yes. Yeah, and all of our mics prior to that, the MV88 Plus, the MV7, the MV7 Plus, all remember the settings that you configure it in.
Go ahead, Courtney.
Another kind of a Zoom-related question. When you plug, since there are two independent mics coming in over the single USB, does Zoom see it? Can you differentiate the two microphones? Does it come in as two different USB mics in Zoom, or does
Not in Zoom, but in other digital audio workstations, yes, it comes in as two.
a separate USB? So if you're using currently with the Motive app and Zoom, you would choose which microphone is up in the Motive app, and that would be what would present itself to Zoom?
Correct.
That would work. Okay.
Yes.
Or it would sum them together, right? Like it would just deliver it to Zoom as one. It would sum the two
So
mics
right now
together.
I have the MV7i selected as my audio input source in Zoom as my microphone. And I'm controlling which source is selected.
But if
within
both
Motive
mics were live, it would just send both mics it would sum them
Correct.
together and send them to Zoom. Yeah.
And can
Yes.
it send in stereo then?
Yes, it can.
Left and right
Yes.
channel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Zoom. Yeah. Okay, great.
Yep.
What's interesting there is also that, again, if we had two people, it just means that you do have two people coming into Zoom and you still have control over each mic. It's useful. Go ahead, Jeff.
While we're talking about remote control, I would wonder whether there's a companion connection for the Motive app so that you could control via companion and then Stream Decks to do level controls and muting and those sorts of things.
Yes. I love that idea. And I'm I'm thinking of ways I
engineers-
could get it to the mothership as fast as possible. But
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Laura, thank you so much for your time.
thank you so much for having me. It's always a blast. I appreciate you.
Let us know when you have new mics coming out. We're always excited with what you guys are working on. This one looks fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again. And
Yep.
Bill, let's go ahead and jump into the next question.